going to show you how I crochet over the top of my ends when I'm making entrelac. With my Tessellate Me series, I crochet over practically every end, and you can do this in so many different places. So I'm going to show you two ways in this video. This one is the end at, which is at the start of a panel. So I've just done the foundation row of a new square here. So I've attached down at the bottom of this square here. I've made my chains. I've picked up my loops along there. I should just check if I got 7, 2, 4, 6, 7. Yeah, plus the edge stitch 8. And I just need to do my connecting stitch. And when you're doing connecting stitches, it's as simple as including that end in your connecting stitch. So it captures it when you make your connection stitch. I'll just do one more row here so that you can see that. And then I'm going to skip to what I do on the top of the next square so that you can see that. And then I'm going to show you what happens at the other end of the panel. Okay, so there's my end, there's my connecting point, and I'm just doing my connection stitch there. It captures it, okay? So crocheting over ends along a connecting stitch is the most straightforward, simple way of doing it. Okay, now I'm just going to finish this square and I'm going to show you what I do up here. So I finished crocheting that first square. I've captured my tail or my end inside the connecting stitches along here. Now this end is longer than how I usually have it, and I've made it longer for demonstration purposes. Usually it would finish about here when I do them. I leave my ends pretty short. So on this square, I've done my single crochet points along here, and I just need to do my slip stitch. So when you do your slip stitch, make sure that you capture the end again inside the slip stitch. Okay, it's just another point where it holds it down. Now, when I do my foundation row of my next square, so I'm picking up loops in the single crochet stitches below, it's just a matter of capturing this tail in as many stitches as you can. So I'm just going to pick those loops up. So the first one is quite straightforward. Actually, no, it's not. It's the wrapping method. So I'm getting them muddled up already. Excuse me. Okay, so I'm inserting my hook in my first single crochet point. Now, if I were to just normally yarn over and pull through, I'm going to miss capturing that end there. See, it's on top. So I'll do it and you can see it now. See, I haven't captured it in that stitch. It's nice and free. So you want to capture. So I'll do it again. Now, all I'm going to do, instead of having that loop on top of my hook, I'm going to put it in behind and bring my loop up. Now see, it's captured that end inside that loop. So it's actually an alternating practice. So now it's my second one, and I just need to yarn over and pull through one loop, and it captures it straight away. It's within there. Okay. It's just a matter of having that yarn, holding onto it and putting it in the right spot so that it captures inside that stitch. See, if I had it out here, it wouldn't be captured. You'd skip it. All right, if I have it behind, it's captured. Okay, see, the end is in there. So I'm going to keep going. So you do need to manipulate that tail a few times. Every second stitch it changes. Okay, now when you're working over the top of them, it's good to actually give it a pull, and you end up crocheting over it more times than you will actually need to. So when it comes to blocking and you pull those stitches out, it's going to lengthen inside where you've wrapped it, okay? But the more times you crochet over it, like if you're pulling it tight, you're ensuring that you're capturing the entire length of that end. So now I'm up to doing my connecting stitch. It's just a matter of capturing it within that connecting stitch, which I'll keep doing up here as well. Okay, so that's what to do for a starting entrelac piece. Now at the end of it, this is just a swatch. I've got a couple of squares to work, which I'll do off camera. So I have a tail up the other end, and I'm going to show you how to crochet over that as well. Now I'm going to show you how to crochet over an end that's at the end of your work. So just bearing in mind, I'm right-handed, so these are right-handed videos. All you have to do is flip the sides for lefties. Now I've just made a couple of squares here, 1, 2, and I'm halfway through my third. And I need to do one more in here, in this V-space here. So I've got this tail here. Now this tail, if I crochet over the top of it in my connection points, it's going to have like this weird little extra bit along the top of here, because I'm not actually putting a square here, but that's okay. I want to show you that I've already done it here. Okay, so I have the end of this tail. See, it's coming over the top of this, and I've crocheted over the top of it here. Okay, so it's dangling here. Now, when this is a work in progress, these can be caught pretty easily and you can pull them out. But it hasn't happened to me very many times. Now, I think it's a time saver, because in all of my Tessellate Me series, you're going to be squaring off the zigzagged edges anyway. So you're going to crochet over the top of this at a later point. So you don't have to leave it as a big hanging tail. So the trick that I find with these is to crochet over the top of them for way more stitches than you need to. And this means that you end up pulling. See, I'm like a whole square away from actually needing to crochet over it, but I just want to show you the principle of it so that none of the tail ends up hanging out at all. You're capturing it, the entire length of it. Okay, so I'm holding on to that tail down here, and see, it's pulling that all the way over, but that's okay. I'm going to crochet over the top of it now. Okay, it's using the same technique that was at the beginning of the piece of Entrelac. And just bear in mind that this doesn't just apply to Entrelac, it applies to any Tunisian, okay? It's good for color work. So I'm just going to finish off this square, and I'll show you what I'm doing. Okay, again, here's that tail. It's nice and tight down here. I'm going to crochet it again over the top of it. Yes, this is overkill. I'm doing it for demonstration purposes, but I'm showing you that it's good to pull it tighter. I need to do one more row. Yeah. I'll just finish this row. Okay, so when this is sitting flat, it's going to pull out of all of those stitches. I'm okay with that at this point. It's just good practice, especially if this is new to you. I think the biggest thing is actually remembering to do it. When I first started doing all my Entrelac projects, I was forgetting to do it, and then I was weaving them all in later. But I was only doing it on one side, and then I realized, oh geez, this is actually really straightforward. And you can do this in mid-rounds and mid-rows as well. It's not just for flat Entrelac work or flat any work. Okay, again, look, it's pulled quite tight. Now I can give that a bit of a yank, and I'm going to crochet over the top of it in my foundation row. So I'll just demonstrate that technique again. So it's picking up the stitch, but because see how it's pulling in there, I don't have to hold on to it like I did at the beginning, but I can see that if I pull a stitch up now, it's going to miss capturing that. So you've just got to flick it underneath your hook before you bring it up. Now it's captured it inside that little stitch there. And there it goes again. So you just need to make sure that it's captured each time. So you end up putting your hook on different sides. So see, at the moment it's underneath that yarn to be able to capture it. And then on this one, it's on top of the yarn. So if I go under, it's going to miss it. But if I go on top, there it is. It's captured. It's all inside there. Okay, again, I repeat, this is overkill. I do need to pull on this a fair bit. I've gone over it a little bit too tight. Okay, so this is the last square that I need to work on this particular swatch. It's not always the case. In other patterns, you will be putting a square up here as well, which is from memory a C type square, I think. I'm testing my memory here. Okay, so this one is in my Tessellate patterns. This is what I call an A type square because you're working solidly inside a V. Okay, so it's not going to capture this little piece of yarn that's along here. But again, this is just a swatch. If this was in a finished piece of my tessellated projects, that is going to be filled up with a triangle. Yeah, see there's a triangle gap there. It will be crocheted over the top of.